Medieval 2 is recognized to be one of the greatest strategy games in the world. Maybe not now, maybe some other games can compete against the great art that is Medieval 2, but at the time when it came out in 2005 or in 2006, I'm not sure, I'm too lazy to look it up, the game was 100% on top. They didn't have any competition, and the fact that the game is still relevant enough for me to talk about today really shows how much impact it had at the time. Now, Medieval 2 is a great game. Every total player knows that, but does it still hold up well in 2020? That's why I'm here. That is the question that I'm going to answer today. Now, just to let you know, I'm a great fan of Medieval 2. It's one of my favorite games in the world. Not my favorite game. It's one of my favorite games, and I absolutely adore it. But I'm still going to buy it. I'm still going to be unbiased. I genuinely want to compare it to other Total War games that is made today, because for me, Medal 2 is still much more fun in a way than Attila Total War or other new fucking shitty Total War games that they make. Um, so let's start with bad parts, because there's so many good parts in this game that, starting with good shit, it won't be very good. Good way of starting. So one of the bad parts of the game is the nations. Nations are not historically accurate. One of the probably biggest historically inaccurate place is Iberia, or Iberia. You can call it whatever you want. It's a kingdom of Spain. Kingdom of Spain did not exist for for a long time. I mean, it would not exist for a long time. It never existed. Okay. Um, the Spain that they are talking about, that they are trying to make in Medieval 2, say it is supposed to be Castile and Aragon, which were not united yet, and the Kingdom of Spain was unheard of. Another nation that should not exist in Medieval 2 is Russia. Russia did not exist for wouldn't exist for a very long time in Medieval 2. Um, if they called it Novgorod, it would be better, but Russia was just small principalities, not united or anything. So that's a big historical inaccuracy. But all in all, I think they kind of made it, in my opinion, to um, for so people wouldn't get upset. Because if I was Spanish and I would just want to play as Spain, and I'm 10 years old and I don't know history very well, and I go to Medieval 2, I launch the game and I can't even see my country. Instead of my country there's some stupid names like Castile and Aragon. I would be quite disappointed. Another thing that people don't like, but I genuinely have no problem with it, is that there's rebel cities, like rebellion cities, controlled by a rebel faction. Um, I think people don't like that. They say that it's unrealistic, but in my opinion, it is quite. It's not that bad, in my opinion, because it shows, in my opinion, the small countries that that existed, but you know, um, didn't, but weren't big enough to be implemented in the game. Of course, some of the cities should be controlled by England. For example, England should control half of the France, but that would be really overpowered. So why not just take away these cities for both of people and let them fight over it? I think that's really smart, and I have no problems with it, and I think it's actually pretty good. Another bad part of the game is AI. Now, I know the game is 15 years old. I know that AI will never be good. Was shit 15 years ago, and would never be good in today's standards. But it's still, this video is about comparing and establishing if the game is good or not in 2020. So I need to really put out every bad part of the game. AI is absolute abusable in this game. It's absolute shit. Okay, so AI is fucked, and not only is AI, the AI with your enemies AIs, your troops units are complete retards. They don't listen to you. Sometimes in the rough terrains, they just don't listen to you. Sometimes they just stop, take like 5 seconds to think what they are doing, and then continue. Especially in sieges. In sieges, the units just don't want to work. Sometimes they get stuck on the wall. Sometimes they get stuck in the village or in front of the house, and they walk into the house and they're just stuck there forever, which absolutely fucking sucks. But other than that, I can't really find any bad parts of the game. To talk about good parts of the game, the parts that I like and wow. Music, the soundtrack in this game is beautiful. I can listen to it all day long and still love it. I am shocked that CA did not use the same guy who produced this music to their other Total games. I know that they used him for smaller projects, but they didn't use it in the big projects like in Medieval 2, which is very disappointing. And so he made such a good music, and in my opinion, without this music, Medieval 2 would not be same. The music is just really good. Now, graphics is a part that people usually dislike about all games. In my opinion, Medieval 2's graphics look really good for 2006 or 2005. Don't quote me on that. Probably 2005 or 2006. It still looks decent, and I have no problems with it. It's not like it's getting me out of my immersion of playing. When I look at my units, I don't think, oh my god, they look so shit. No, I think it's like, oh, so that's a cool unit. Wow. And while we're talking about units, let's also talk about how many units are in the game. A lot of. Just to every faction has their own has its own good shit, like units. Almost every major faction has their own infantry or cavalry. Turks have their own cavalry or their missile cavalry. Byzantines have their own infantry. English have their own archers. French have their own pikemen. Germans have their own swordsmen. You know, there's so many cool things. Almost every faction has their own shit, which is really cool. Another thing, there's so much content. That brings me to the game having so much content. The game is 15 years old, but it has just unbelievable amount of content. I had when I had 400 hours in the game, I found out that there was Americans in the game. I didn't know that there was Americans in the game. I didn't know that you could travel to America from Europe, and it is so cool. Even though Americans look like absolute shit, and it isn't truly that fun to colonize at all, it is still very fun. It's still cool to have that option. You know, it's cool to think, oh, this game actually expands outside Europe. That's crazy. The game, if you are hesitating from buying the game because you think that there won't be many people who are playing, well, you are wrong. Medieval 2 has very healthy fan base. There's a lot of people playing. Any time of the day, there's always gonna be people who want to play with you. Yeah, they are probably gonna spam cavalry, archers and shit, but who cares? You can still play with them, I guess. I don't know, that's why I don't play multiplayer of Medieval 2. It's quite annoying. Now, this is my favorite part of Medieval 2. Voice actors. Every country, every unit, every diplomat, anything has their own voice actors.
Take up your swords! Remember your honor and your families. Now, go forward with steel in your heart!
God's blood! What dark forest gave birth to those creatures? I do not think the Lord would want us to let them live!
Faster than a Norwich fishwife. Let's see how fast they can count their dead. The Venetians are all bankers. Would you have me tell you anything else?
They spend too long on their knees to be good fighters, and lack all the spirit that makes Frenchmen brave.
French has French accent, French diplomat has French accent. their voice lines are different. Everything is so different in every country. If you are in England and you are at war with friends, French people are just gonna curse at you. Diplomats are gonna curse at you. Fuck Pope is gonna curse at you. Army is gonna curse at you. If you are neutral, they're gonna be neutral towards you, and if you are an ally, they're going to be friendly with you, which is, in my opinion, one of the best things ever. It's very cool. Now let's talk about expansions. When I first saw expansions, I was like, yeah, I'm not buying that. That's probably a scam. But CA was smart enough to actually give people who own Medieval 2 free expansions. So I thankfully got to experience such a cool things in Medieval 2. So if you buy Medieval 2, you will get expansions, meaning that you are gonna get full version of the game, Definitive Edition, which grants you 4 brand new maps: America's Crusader campaign, a Teutonic campaign, and Britannia campaign, Warsaw Britannia or some shit, I don't know. My favorite one is Crusader campaign. Probably everyone will agree to me, but probably one of the best things about this expansions are the fact that every expansion is better than normal Medieval 2. They improve everything in Medieval 2: cavalry, units, AI, graphics, everything, absolutely everything. If you want more of Medieval 2, you have to try out expansions. It is really good. And also the good thing is that all of expansions try out different things. None of expansions are same. You will never feel that one expansion is close to another. Everyone is different. In America's campaign, while you are playing, as time passes, you can see that European colonization is going on. You know, English is coming in America, French is coming in America slowly. In Britain campaign, you can see small castles scattered around the map, which is, in my opinion, really cool. Yeah, like strategic castles. They are not necessarily they don't necessarily give you any money, but capturing them still gives you a lot of strategic advantage over your enemies. In Crusader campaign, you get fuck Venice, as when you are playing as Byzantine Empire. Venice invades you from the east, from the west, and also you have as Byzantine Emperor, you have your own special ability while you are in battle, which is called Byzantine Politics, which is really cool. And in Teutonic campaign, you get what do you get? Oh, formidable factions, which is I just really wanted formidable factions to be a thing in Medieval 2. Imagine if you conquered all of Britain, you have an option of making Great Britain. That would be so fucking cool. That would be amazing. And that's what they did in Teutonic campaign. Unfortunately, they didn't really expand on it, but it's still a cool thing, right? It's still like ahead of its time. And now we are coming to this last one, which is the length of the game. And I'm telling you right now, after 700 hours of playing this game, I'm not sick of it. I'm not bored, and I will play probably more, as much as I want. You know, like probably until I'm dead, I'm gonna play Medieval 2. Medieval 2 is probably gonna be on my hard drive as long as I'm alive. Okay, it just doesn't get bored. You can play as long as you want, and that kind of shows how good the game is, right? Now, if I could give this game a score, I would give it 9 out of 10, because probably in 2006 I would give it 10 out of 10, 100%. It's a really good game for 2006, but in 2020 I would give it 9 out of 10. Because AI is shit, and historical inaccuracy of Spanish in Iberia and in Russia, you know, it's kind of annoying. And yeah, if only the game had formidable factions, I'd probably give it 10 out of 10, because it would be so much fun if you could make Roman Empire or German Empire or Great Britain. That would be so cool. But anyways, this is my review of Medieval 2. If you want to see more reviews, leave a like, let me know, and I'm out.